Hello everybody, I'm making a Rust video for you guys today. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make your game look good yet run fast. Now, this game takes up a lot of resources on your computer. It takes not too much gigabytes of RAM, but it's really graphics card intensive. It's an open world game and it's high graphics. Now, some people this may work, this may not work, just because if your graphics card isn't that great, it probably won't help. You need to update your graphics card. It's about time if you can't run this game at least decent graphics. Anyways, I'm doing this because I looked up online how to make your game run fast. I didn't even care about the graphics because my graphics cards were so weak, it probably wasn't going to happen that way. Well, what I found out is they said to open your console and type in a bunch of stuff and it would delete the grass and all this other stuff. That didn't work for me because they have a patch or whatever happened that wouldn't let me do that. It's pretty much a cheat if you think about it. The grass disappears. Now you can see people better. They can't see you better. Unless that's server wide, I don't know. That'd be weird. But yeah, they can't now it's easier for everyone to kill each other and it's less immersive. And you don't want that. So what I did was after messing around for a while and getting a new better graphics card that's better, what I found out is there's certain settings in here that would just take the entire graphics card resources up. In this video, I'm going to be showing you what those are and how you can fix it so your computer looks good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the settings here. Yours should be on play game or whatever it's at. And it's probably going to be here. Go to settings right there. And here, this stuff. Let's talk about effects real quick. Color grading. I found that doesn't really do much. I can turn all these on right here. And this right here, if your graphics card isn't the greatest, I'd leave that off because it's just like an extra thing that you really don't need. Depth of field I just turn off in general because it makes the game look blurry. You see that? The game looks blurry now. Now if I turn that off, boom, blurry is fixed. And that's, in my opinion, the blur looks retarded and there's no point of it. So let's turn that back off. Better, way better. Now, that's the effects. This right here, sun shafts, it's pretty cool. I like it. I leave it on. This right here isn't necessarily a necessity, but it does make the game more immersive in my opinion. Now let's go to quality, graphics quality. You can turn it on 0, which will make it better for when you turn all this other stuff up. But I like to put it at around 4. Now the game's gonna like flip out because I'm actually running it in the background. If you don't want it to flip out like this, it's gonna take a little while for it to actually do it. It might crash a couple times, honestly. But what you want to do is, oh, okay, cool. What you want to do is make the game, when you disconnect from the server and then you do this, because if you don't, then your thing's liable to crash. Or probably crash. Mine does that usually. I don't know why it's flickering now. But yeah, see, look. I turned it up to 4. The game looks a lot better. Even though that we are not even close of being done. It looks a lot better. And I barely turned it up to 4. That would normally be like a oh wow, that's like a lot. No, the graphics in this game is basically textures, and the textures don't take up a lot of resources. What takes up a lot of resources actually is the shader. Now the shader level I have it at 100 because that's the lowest it can go. But if you turn it up, I'll show you. Let's see this rock. This rock right here, it's starting to get detail. I'll also go down here, show you this rock. See how this rock is like that? The rocks are like kind of flat, looks a little weird, but it still has a lot of detail. Now I'm going to show you what happens when I turn it up. I'm turning it up to about there. See, look. It has sand on it now, but it's more detailed. Everything gets more detailed the higher you turn it up. And in my opinion, graphics at 4 and shaders all the way up, I'm going to show you what it's like all the way up. Both of those, like a combination of those, in my opinion, see, look at that. That looks way better. It's more detailed, and it just looks better. Yet my computer isn't lagging at all. I can do that, I can flip, do all kinds of stuff. It won't lose any frames. That to me is the most important stuff. Graphics and the shader, because now your game looks awesome. Now, I'm also recording this, so it's taking up more CPU than without recording, like a lot more. So this right here, I could even go better if I'm not recording. I can go higher on the graphics. I can probably put it at 5 and it'd still be okay, and then have all the other settings I'm about to show you. But for the sake of recording, I'm just going to leave it like this all the time. But recording takes up a lot more resources, so you'd be better off not. I don't know. I just have it like this for recording purposes. So what you're gonna want to do now, water quality. I noticed in the game that this game has a pretty good water itself, but I also noticed that there's bugs where like the water would look almost like squares in the water, like they're placed on top of each other as squares, and in rivers and stuff. And to fix that, you just go like this. Boom. The water looks better now, in my opinion. Now, when you turn the water quality up, the water is already so like there. It's already so good that turning it up really like it's not like a bad thing. I want to say. I'd just say it doesn't take up much, because all it does is it's almost like rendering it. But water quality, I leave that at 2 because it doesn't take too much resources up. I can be literally next to the ocean with everything turned up, and I won't drop any frames. That's a good thing for me. Now, max shadow lights, I'm not too sure what these do, but turn that up to 3, no frame drop. That's cool. I think it's like off in the distance. If I see like light, it'll actually be on the ground. That's just my theory, because I haven't really looked into that one too much. But I turn that at 3, no frame drops. I can be around a bunch of light, no frame drops. That's pretty cool, in my opinion. Now, draw distance. This one I can turn all the way up, and I get a little bit of frame drop. Now, draw distance, I want to say, is how far you can see stuff, like trees and buildings. I actually turn that down to about this right here, 1,500. Get it close as I can to 1,500 because I'm OCD. And whatever, that's good enough. Now, see, not too much frame drop right there. That's good. And you can still see pretty far, like that. Also, depth of field. Forgot to talk about that. Or field of view. This is how far you can see everything. If I turn this all the way down, there's fog closer to you. There's a lot more fog. So yeah, I'm looking at those trees, it's all foggy. Now what you want to do to fix that fog is turn it up. However, if your computer's like weak, if your computer's not the greatest, and you want to turn that down, that'll help out the lag. Shadow distance. Shadow distance, I'm not really big on shadows because it does take up a lot of your computer's resources, so I just leave that right there. I just leave that how it wants to be. Now, this cascades, when the sun's up, for example, or maybe right here, no cascades. The shadows have edges, almost like squared off edges, pixeled edges on it. I noticed that when I turned it up to 4, I didn't have any frame drops, and it made the shadows smoother. It made it almost like there's no pixels or anything at all. This right here is I don't ever touch that, because on another PC that I played it on that had SLI GTX 960 superclocked EVGAs, or sorry, for the Win EVGAs. I put this up a little bit, probably about to here, and with everything else turned up and all that, it like lagged out so hard. This right here, anisotropic filtering, that is a huge hit on any system. Unless you have like the GTX 1080s or something like that, I'd probably say you could go and do that, but I'm not a big fan of that. Now, which this here too, not a big thing. Look, I'll turn it on and look around, and it doesn't do too much to my computer, as it is now. But it does take off some frames. It hits your frame rate a little bit. I'll just leave it off because I don't really see a difference with it on or off. That's just my opinion. In my opinion, it's a waste to have because you're taking frame hits for nothing or close to nothing. Parallax mapping, I don't really know what this does, but I know I can turn it all the way up and no lag, no frame drops. So I just turn that up. And that's basically the quality. Now, the shadow distance, I forgot to mention. If you have it all the way turned up, then the shadows will look blocky. See? I don't know if you guys can see that, but it looks not the great. It looks pretty bad. Like, terrible. Now, that's all glitching and lagging. Actually, I'm just going to wait till day. I'm going to skip through this, edit it out till day, and then I'll show you guys the shadows. Okay, it's now daytime. The shadows show, but they're not really that strong. I think it might be because of the setting, I don't know. But there is this that I can do, and it'll show the shadows. Now, I don't know if you guys can see that, but if you look close to the shadows, you can see how it has like this weird kind of like angle stuff moving up and down on it. Now that's, or if you look up at the top, you can see the rock at the very tip that I'm on. It's like going nuts with the shadows. That's because of this setting. This setting right here is the higher you have it, the worse it's going to be. If you have shadow distance, what that does is it pretty much, the shadow distance is how long how far the shadow is from the edge it's supposed to be. What that does is the higher it is, the more high quality the shadow's edges will be. It won't be as pixelated or anything. See, if you look at my guy's legs, it's not like that, but let's turn it back up. Now his legs are like terrible. Like really bad. You can't even see it. Turn that back down. Boom. Legs are good again. I mean, his ankles are like gone, but that's just the game. Foot's good and everything. That's something you can do to turn to help the shadows, but it's not like I've noticed that it doesn't take too much frame drop doing that. That's pretty much the graphics setup that you guys will want to lean towards, in my opinion. But that's just that. Now for performance, max Gibbs is automatically set to 1000, or at least it was for me. Now I just said why not and went all the way up because why not? In my opinion, I don't really care. Max Gibbs, I don't even know what that is, but whatever it is, it doesn't take too much of a frame drop. Now, virtual texturing, you don't want to check that. I'll show you at the end of the video what happens when you check it. It hits your computer a lot. I had all these settings up and I had virtual texturing on, and my computer lagged so hard that I couldn't. It took a couple seconds for the settings screen to pop up, and after I clicked it, unchecked it, my computer was fine again. So that thing hits it hard. I'll show you an example of that at the end. This is basically what happens. It even lagged turning it on. Now, it's not doing much, but if you're in like a big area with a bunch of high quality stuff, like for example if I turn terrain quality on, again, it would lag out hard. It would lag out harder. Now, I'm not in the same area I was, so it's not lagging as much as it was, but usually it would lag out really bad in the bigger, more surrounded areas. Now, particle quality, you can turn that up. It does do some frames. It does take some frames to do it, but in my opinion, it's worth it. It makes everything look sharper, like more detailed. Object quality. Now, object quality, you can turn that up as well. It doesn't do too much. It just makes the objects in the game look better. Tree quality. Now, tree quality, if you're in a dense area, like a forest, like that for example, having the tree quality all the way up will really hit your computer. But for me, I can have that all the way up in the tree area and it won't do anything. It won't hit my computer as hard. But on my last graphics cards, I noticed that if I turn that up, my game would like freeze almost. But that's just the graphics cards were bad. Now, I turn that up, go look at the trees. The trees look sharper. They look more detailed and sharper. That's what this is. That's what the performance is. That's how sharp the detail is on it. Now that I have that on, there's not much of a difference. These don't really do too much of a difference on the hit. Now, see the grass? We'll do the grass right now. The grass doesn't look the best, but if I turn the grass all the way up, looks better. It's more dense, or not more dense, just like it pops out better. But that does do a big hit on your computer because that's how good the quality of the grass is. Now, grass in general in any game hits your computer hard. That's just because there's a lot of grass and the motion of it going back and forth. Not only does that take a lot of a lot of resources just to pull off like this, but it does it all the way down there. I don't know if you guys can see way back there by those hemp plants, but the grass is moving. As far as you can see the grass, it is moving back and forth, and that's a huge thing. It takes a lot of your graphics card's resources, but I can turn it up, not much there for me. Where lower end computers might take a huge hit on that. Terrain quality, it's just the quality of the floor, basically. Turn that up. Now that, see how I'm lagging out right now? The terrain quality matters. Now I'm going to turn the grass all the way down. Still, it doesn't really matter. That's because the terrain quality, now everything you're standing on and all that gets hit hard. When you turn up the terrain quality on your computer, it really lags it out too. And I'll show you how it does it on mine. See how everything's all like, now it's all lagging out. It's because I have a lot of grass around me. I have tons of terrain, obviously. That's everywhere in the game. I have the water behind me that's already turned all the way up. I have the trees, 2 trees there, and there's just a lot of all the stuff we're turning up right now. It's all around me, and that's hitting this computer really hard. Now let me turn it down again, all the way down. Boom, fixes it. Terrain quality does hit the computer hard. It's one of those things where it literally adds texture to all of the floor in this game, and that hits the computer pretty hard. Now I'll turn it up a little. Even turning it up a little bit still lags it out. I don't know how it would look without recording because I haven't really tried it, but with recording it really hits it hard. Now decal quality. Decal quality, not much of a hit there. It still does pretty good. Not really much frame drop. And that's pretty much it for the settings on the graphics. If you turn shader quality all the way down, does make things look worse. Shader quality also makes the grass move. If you don't have the shader quality on, then the grass won't move. Then you can turn the terrain quality up. But in my opinion, it's not even worth it because the shader's not even on, pretty much. If you turn it up to about right before the grass starts to move, see now it's moving, it's lagging hard. Turning it down to about before the grass starts to move, and it won't hit your computer hard. I think it's about 300 when it starts to move. Yeah, but it won't hit it as hard. I still have a little bit of frame drop there. Probably running like 15 frames right now. But in my opinion, put the train at like 25, 20-ish. And then shader all the way back up. A little bit of a frame drop there, but that's fine. Put it down to 10 now, probably. Yeah. But that's pretty much it for all the settings in the game. And if you guys look at it, look at all these, this right here, graphics quality, it's not that big of a hit on your computer. It makes everything look a lot better, but it still doesn't make it it doesn't like lag the computer out as much. What it is that lags out your computer is the shader level. The anisotropic filtering just hits it really hard. The anti-aliasing, that hits it pretty hard, not too much. And an underperformance, terrain quality, and virtual texturing. If you guys turn all those off or down to a certain amount, then you should be able to run the game really nicely without having any frame drop, little to none. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show everyone, I'm going to run around and do a few things to show everyone what the game actually, how it runs, how smooth it is, because obviously standing there, turning the things up and looking around, that's not going to do much to show you how the performance that it's going to have after doing this. But for the remainder of this, I'm just going to show you guys how it runs when you do stuff. See, there's really no lag after that. I was having a problem with that because anything I did would cause a lag on the game. But once you get those settings in there, it really doesn't hit your computer as much. You can run it and make it still look good. Certain things like the terrain might not look as great, but the rest of the game does. Now, you run around, collect stuff. The game's like not running super good because I'm recording, but if I wasn't recording, I wouldn't be having any of this, like, almost like the screen is a little choppy. Not even choppy, just like, I don't know how to say it. It's definitely not 30 frames per second, but if I wasn't recording, then I wouldn't be having this problem. So you guys shouldn't be having this problem either, but every system varies. Everything looks nice. Nice little shiny wet rock. Yeah, there's really no frame drop. I may need to turn a few things down because I'm recording, such as terrain quality might need to go all the way down. Instantly fix the lag. Terrain quality hits the game hard because it literally is the entire map with terrain quality. Let's be nice and give him some free stuff. So when he wakes up, he has something. Probably get killed with it though. Someone else sees him. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. There's not much else to do or say. If you turn those things down that I was talking about earlier, then you won't really have any problem running the game. You're gonna have a nice looking game that won't have too much of a performance issue. Now, there was an instance that when I was playing with my friends and stuff, they started / removing everything on the modded server, and like the entire building started collapsing, and the game literally froze from the frame drop. Well, that's it for the video, and I'll see you guys next time.
We were running still, had the whole world at our feet, watching seasons change.